You're muted. Hi, Jeff, we're doing roll call right now. Can you hear us? You're muted.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You guys were muted.
Okay, he's here. Joe Texera. Here. Jamie Gagnon. Here. Jennifer Bluestein.
Here.
Andrea Wheatman.
Here.
Right. Tonight we have the deliberation session where we discuss and vote on recommendations to be made to City Council for funding of among the balance of the applications that are still before us. I would encourage those of you who represent a board or commission to speak up when you have information from the commission that's pertinent to the application that we're discussing. And if that would include you with all the historic preservation applications, although we have heard in the individual presentations where the historical commission has provided support for each of those. Okay. We have before us and total ask of $1,552,000 and a presently available of $1,308,000. For purposes of having common ground on what our target is in terms of what we will recommend to spend tonight, we generally first thing we do is discuss what kind of a cushion anybody would like, just to make sure that we don't recommend appropriating more money than we actually get or have. In years past, we've gone anywhere from 10 to 30,000 in cushion, and that has always been more than sufficient because, generally speaking, our general fund has extra funds in it that we learn about at the end or at the beginning of next year. So it's cushion plus. I'm open to suggestions on what people are comfortable with. I think for purposes of tonight, my own comfort level would be satisfied if we just took a nice round 1.3 as available, and you know that leaves us with the 8,000. Any discussion on that?
I'm sorry, was that 1.3? Was it 1.3% you're talking about, or?
No, 1.3 million as the unallocated available funds.
So essentially, the wiggle room would be about 8,000.
Yeah, about 8,600, right?
Got it.
Okay, well then, working with that, I'm also happy to hear general discussion on how you'd like to proceed. I know we often somebody jumps in and gives you a whole list, says here's my whole list, what I like, and then somebody gives a counter list, and we end up talking it through that way. To start things off, however, I think well, what do you think about actually going through and talking about the individual projects one by one first, and just see what people think about it, and then we go back in terms of what we've heard, maybe to adjust our thinking that we've brought to the meeting, and that we've acquired from the presentations and from the applications that we've read. So I'm gonna, if that's okay with everybody else, let's start from the top.
Here, just a clarifying question, and I'm sorry if I missed this in one of the meetings that I couldn't attend, but there's Belleville Meeting House ceiling repair, and then there's the St. Paul Community Hall roof.
Yes,
And I could not remember if last year we had funded the UU roof.
I believe that was last year or the year before.
Right, because I was just trying to think about
Yes,
fairness across roofs.
yeah, across roofs, yes.
Yes, across the roof.
Historic roofs, yes.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years.
2 years, I believe.
I looked back at like some of the historical ones.
Okay, so first up, number one on the list is the Belleville Meeting House ceiling repair. And that's brought to us from the Belleville Congregational Church, and the request is $170,000. If you'll recall, this is a bit unusual because it's a project that is part of it is eligible and the rest of it isn't. The eligible part is certainly the structural portions of necessary repair that are behind the ceiling and between the ceiling and the roof. In order to get there, you've got to get the scaffolding up and do the demolition to find what you need to repair. So, you know, the question in my mind for this one, and I'll just put that out there as an open question for discussion, is the appropriate way to evaluate what the pro rata share of a scaffolding obviously is necessary for the finished interior work and for the repair of the structure up behind the ceiling. It's also necessary for the demolition. However, you know, what portion of the scaffolding do we allocate to eligibility, and what portion of the contingency that's built into the budget do we apportion to the contingency? So, anybody have any thoughts on that or like to discuss it?
I have one thing, if that's right.
Okay,
Yeah, I think of all the projects that are kind of under the historic preservation umbrella, I think this is the one that I have the most apprehension about, only because of kind of the ambiguities about, you know, what really should be permitted to be funded under this Preservation Act, and also just the fact that, you know, we're talking about a ceiling inside of one of these places, as opposed to almost all the other projects we're looking at stuff that the public can see from the street, and so there's that. But yeah, I think for me the biggest thing is just just kind of the ambiguities around what we should really be funding.
I think in my mind, there's a pretty clear demarcation between the, you know, structural integrity of a building, which is the restoration of structure is certainly eligible. The interior finish work, the plaster, the painting, would not be. You know, I think we do have a eligible component. It's just it's a function in my mind of a fair and reasonable allocation for between eligible and not eligible, when you've got something, for example, the scaffolding that needs to be up there for both type of things, and it's a lump cost, $111,000 and some change, and it's got to be there. But you know, I think the estimate for the structural is roughly 24% of the total budget. So would applying that to the scaffolding and to the demo
Like applying a 24%.
Yeah, well, I did the calc here, wait a minute, let me find my notes.
There any precedent of any other projects coming in that have had a similar like setup, but then multiple facets of the project, not all of which
I
applies?
think we probably have,
Yeah.
I can't bring it up though, in my aging brain.
This is a lean year, I'm sorry about my voice. This is a lean year, right, in terms of funding?
Well, we're needing to, shave the ass by about, 252,000.
So why are we gonna do gymnastics to try to fit a project in when we've got other projects that are more widely used by the public that we should get, that we could give the funding to?
Well, I think this project is important and necessary because of the damage that they're getting to the building and to continuing damage to the structure. And it has as much public value, public use value as any of the other historic preservation projects that we're looking at.
I a little bit worry about, I see your point, but I also a little bit worry about having some sort of semi-equitable treatment of the different faith communities.
I look at it like it's historic preservation, it doesn't have to do with what they do in the building. I don't look at that as a.
It can't, right? Am I correct that the faith community component can't come into the?
No, it isn't, I'm not talking about their faith component activities, I'm talking about their being open to the Newburyport Choral Society every year and the roots music and things like that. Yeah.
The additional problem we have with this, of all the ones that are here, this is the one that's the hardest to figure out what it's gonna cost, because no one knows. When you open that up, you know, talk about change orders or scope, it's, I'd say the staging, the scaffolding is the thing you know the most about.
That's the biggest component.
No, it's a small component. I mean,
Scaffolding.
it's not small, but
Yes,
it's known.
it's a no.
I don't know what that means, except that I think it would be reasonable to give less than what the full ask is.
So the way I've approached it is, I took out anything that was cosmetic, so I took out the lath, which supports the drywall. And so I took out the lath, the drywall, and the painting and the cosmetic work. And then I sort of struggled with how to reduce what Mike was referring to and several others here, the scaffolding. And actually, yeah, just the scaffolding, transport, setup, the demo work, and then the disassembly. And so I waffled between 50% because you can't do the cosmetic work without the scaffolding, you can't do historic preservation work without the scaffolding. So you can just split it down the middle. We could also look at it, and I think you referred to this as well. So the cosmetic work is about 24%, 25% of the entire ask, or the entire cost that they've given us, the 212,000, so it's 51,000 and some change. Which is about 25% of the total of 200, their total of 212,000. So we could either, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, we could reduce it by 50% for the scaffolding, or we could reduce it to 75% for the scaffolding, because that figure for the cosmetic work is 25%. I came down with, let's just split it. I would split it 50-50. And so I have a total in the end, and I can run down the numbers. A total that I would recommend for funding. But I'm happy to go through those numbers, or of course, anyone else can.
I guess I was looking at it more, I did a quick calc on, okay, the estimate for the actual structural repair being at 98.
Where do you get that?
It was in their budget, it was attached to the application.
Did you look at the updated info that they sent? Is that it?
I thought this was it.
Oh, probably. No,
No, it's not.
there's an updated online where they broke out scaffolding, transport and setup costs 100,000,
Okay, okay,
230. And the scaffolding cost for demo work was 21,500.
21.5.
And so that's where I got these numbers. from.
Okay, she's got more updated numbers. Forget about my calculator.
No, they might be good. I don't know. Caitlin, are you able to bring up what they had sent in? I think it was dated in February. It's on the Open Gov system.
Right, it's like.
I didn't get it through email. I got it through, it's the one, it's like the second, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, so I took, out the lath, the drywall and the painting and other cosmetic work. I just took that out because that's not eligible for CPA funding. And then I took 50% of anything to do with scaffolding. So the first two and the last line, the transport and setup costs, the demo work, and the disassembly. And when I added that up, it came to 91,211. But what I was saying is another possible breakdown is to reduce those scaffolding costs and disassembly costs by 25% because the overall percentage of the cosmetic work is about 25% of their total. Or I could have just totally complicated it way too much and I'm open to any other ideas.
Kind of like the 50%, I mean, I see both are.
Yeah.
I guess, but for the.
So you talk about 50%
Of
50 to
scaffolding,
170,
transport.
where,
gotcha, okay. And is the demo in there?
The demo work.
No.
Oh, I funded that at full because
Yeah.
demo work needs to be done. So sorry, I just misspoke. I took 50% of the first line, the transport and setup costs, and 50% of the disassembly. And then added the cost for the demo work, because that absolutely has to be done for the historical preservation. And so that's where I got my 91,211.
Okay. Understood. Okay. Thank you.
Chuck, do you want to see it?
no, I'm fine with that.
Anybody have anything else on this one? We're not voting on it yet, just moving along with,
I'm thinking 50% of the 170,
I think it was it was the 50% of the scaffolding costs, is
Oh.
what you were saying, Jane, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which need to be for both the CPA eligible work and
Yeah.
paying for ones.
all right, let's move on and talk about number 2. Sanctuary windows at the Old South Church. Requesting $58,000. Any discussion on this one? This is, this is probably the, over the life of the CPA, we've heard from older guys and helped it out with, this may be the 4th project, I think. And generally it's exterior. The windows are not stained glass that depict anything representing their faith. So that would, if it did, the windows would not be eligible for restoration, but they are declared historic. I mean, they are historic glass. And I think the Historic Commission is behind this one as well. Anybody have any thoughts on this?
well, obviously the windows are massive.
Yeah.
And we know the church is terribly important. I would be for this one. I don't, it seems like the request is reasonable. As to its size and control of it. It's a bit.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to number 3. This is the gravestone restoration at the Belleville Cemetery. It's a modest amount, $2,000, and Lee Woodworth, who originated the first preservation of restoration of tombstones in the city of Newburyport. And I, for one, think we got the most bang for our buck of any application that we've ever heard from that first and second one that you did, so. Anyway, any thoughts on that? Oh, okay. Fire protection at Meeting House and Parish Hall, the First Religious Society, $117,000. I will note that this is an eligible historic preservation, historic structure with the fire protection is component that is. Yes, Bill.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I mean, even though technically what this money is going to isn't really a historic asset that they're putting the money into. It's mostly electronics and stuff. I think this is so important to the protection of the building and the buildings all around it and downtown. And it's not like there's been any fires in Newburyport that have caused any problems. So I think this one deserves full funding.
Anybody else? St. Paul's Community Hall roof, St. Paul's Church, $82,000. Jane?
This one, I wasn't clear on the urgency. And so that's where when I came up with my number, I reflected that. And it's a slate roof, there's definitely age span issue, but I just wasn't, it's not leaking. I mean, of course, we want to catch issues before it leaks, but I just wasn't sure. If it was an imminent danger of leaking.
No, I was looking at my notes to see if I said anything on no, I would point out that we will be in connection with this. If it's recommended for funding, a condition will be an amendment to the existing preservation restriction, which only covers the does not cover that part of it covers Meeting House and the chapel, but not the parish. So,
I'd also say the one before this one also would be an amendment.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of that place. So that is a benefit of funding it is getting a more expanded preservation on an additional structure on the property.
I'd also like to point out for the roof, the fact that they're choosing historically appropriate materials to me is pretty crucial compared to sometimes we get requests that are looking for alternatives that might be a little bit less expensive, but I think this is well worth the investment.
Okay, next is number 6 is priority housing needs and rental assistance supplemental funding from the Affordable Housing Trust. Request is $300,000. This is our only community housing application. The 300 would far exceed the 10% we would be required to allocate to community housing this year, but I think they've supported the need for that amount to get their coffers back up there and give them some legitimate walking around money through their programs, including their rental systems.
Yeah, I'd be supportive of this. I mean, I think we saw what happened with the Brown School, the importance of having those properties be ready to go, and then also the rental systems.
Yeah, and I imagine they're going to be hearing from the developer from the Kmart site as well, looking for some assistance. Anybody else? Next is the Open Space Reserve Fund. Anybody, any thoughts on that? Nothing new.
Just, we've been discussing in the resiliency committee, the importance of protecting the watershed around the reservoirs, and so. For me, this would be an important addition to the open space fund in case something came up. That we could purchase for conservation.
Hale Street Shared Use Pathway, East Design. A City of Newburyport planning off the $65,000. This is not a construction project, it's a design so that we can figure out what'll work out there and then get some numbers.
I just wanted to say again, I'm a Hale Street resident and this would impact me too. But I'm gonna stay and discuss it. I think it's a fairly good project. I know the mayor is promoting it too. And it would cover a good section of pretty dangerous walking area and biking area.
Biking area. Yes,
Have you been there?
I've had some close calls out there. Anybody else? Yeah, good.
So I guess it wasn't clear, I was here for the presentation, what the difference is between what they're asking for and a sidewalk. Doesn't the sidewalks come out of a different budget in the city? Is it going between the street and houses?
Oh, no, this is much more than a sidewalk. It's wider and it will have some form.
It'll be shared use.
Shared use, it will have some form of separation or protection from the traffic as well. And they'll generally, I think, Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they're probably gonna have to do some cantilever of some kind when they hit the wetlands out there.
Oh, they're gonna have to do something, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Whether the current plan is feasible or not, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yes, they're gonna have to do. They're talking boardwalks,
Yeah,
but that's way past this section.
yeah,
I think this only covers up to the Little River area.
right.
So,
Anybody else? Woodman Park Improvement Project, Parks Commission, $75,000. You've seen the application. I think this is a fairly modest request to finish up necessary improvements to that park. Make it safe too.
That's
But
the only one in that part of town.
The only one in that part of town, and it's kind of been on the back end of a lot of efforts. And that's too bad. We need to catch up. Okay, we've got the in-street and practice Tracy Square restoration. Parks Commission, $221,350.
Well, it's a parks, request. I think this could be cut. Maybe by half. It would be nice to have the whole thing, but in a year where we don't have it, I think we could save some money on this side.
I had also thought, like, I mean, and I know it's a priority of the mayor's and like, I actually work right off of the street, so I am aware of the bricks and the issues there. But given that it kind of got pushed out, like, I wondered if, given how tight the budget is this year, is if this was something we just like to work over for another year. I would be, or maybe certainly only some part of it, or do we just the whole thing?
Yeah, I know a couple years ago, we significantly reduced in the recommendation from the ask. And it turned out that we couldn't get the job started for that money. Even in a phased way, so.
And that's what I was thinking about. This is one that I would just like to see done. So I came down I came to an opposite conclusion. I just want it done. Thousands and thousands of people walk over those bridges.
I agree.
And
It's a
I'm
safety issue.
concerned that, you know, if we did half or less, it would be some similar thing would happen as last time where we wouldn't be able to, the city wouldn't be able to complete the project.
Believe me, I'd be happy to see it.
I'm sure.
I just don't see where
Yeah,
solving any problem.
Personally, I've noticed that it's, usually you can't see from one year to the next how much worse it's getting, but you can see, this. Yeah. Jason Sawyer fencing project, City of Newburyport, $22,000. Discussion on this one? Color Field track resurfacing project, Parks Commission, $240,500. Discussion on this. Okay.
this one came up for me and I was around when I think Mike, you and I might be the only ones that were there when we initially funded the track.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it was a room full of people. It was just amazing.
It was in the auditorium at City Hall.
And,
And the whole upper gallery. Poor
kids.
kids.
I was like, of course, we have to fund it, and I'm so glad that we recommended funding. But I remember, and this is when I had this terrible fear of speaking, I spoke up and I was like, what about maintenance? Like, who's gonna maintain this track? And I understand that it has been 10 years and it was, you know, it's an end of life issue, I guess, but, there hasn't been a concerted effort to fundraise for it, and there was before, and we were kind of told that, yes, of course, you know, the community will rally around and fundraise to keep this up. And so that's in the back of my mind about that project. But it's also very important.
Anybody else?
There's also more to it than just fixing the track. We're expanding to different areas beyond different fields and one thing and another. There's more to it than just the track. So I was wondering if we could pull back some of it. I don't have a number. What that other area is worth, but if you recall the presentation, there's
I think it's a new
more to it
couple of new areas for
different sports.
different long jump
It's like, yeah, it's like the long jump pit,
pit. Yeah.
long jump pit, the triple jump pit, the water steeplechase thing, that's.
Yeah. Any other comments? Brown School outdoor space design, again, another design project, not a construction project. 14,999 for the city of Newburyport. I think it's timely to get this design in place while they're doing the school project. So we can coordinate the eventual work as they finish up the school. Any other comments? Lower Atkinson multi-sport project, phase 3, $85,000 from the Parks Commission. This is the, at least on the current plan, the final element in refurbishing that whole Pioneer Park area.
It is a priority from the parks position to get this done.
Yeah.
I think it's been hugely successful. Been a big safety issue solved.
Definitely. I'm glad we got the trees planted. Any other comments? The Frog Pond Restoration Project. This is the bond. So whatever we decide on recommending about this one does not come out of the available funds we have today. It would likely be in 27, probably the second half of 27 that they have the first payment on the bond if we recommended this cycle. So it's a little different, you know, different thought, not what's it going to do to today's budget, it's what's it going to do to like 10 years worth of budget, 15 years worth of budget, and we have the numbers we can look at. Basically, it's spending 361,000, I believe it is, a year for 15 years. And we've done it before. We did it for City Hall, we did it for the bond for the common pasture land that's out there. So it works. Just, doing it with a clear mind as to the impact it's gonna have going downward.
Yeah, I would, I highly recommend we approve that or recommend it because I think it's a great plan. I think Kim and her crew came up with something that even DEP liked. So it pretty much mimics the whole water cycle setup, and I think it would be I think we should do it, get it taken care of.
We've been trying to get it done for a decade now, more.
Which is why I said
Yeah.
we should just
Yeah,
do it.
I know.
Get cheaper.
It'll be less expensive now.
Right.
Something that, because we'd be paying this for many years, is the aggregate debt service that I can't remember what's in the latest packet. But just keeping in mind that in about 5 years, that what we're currently paying on the outstanding bonds drops by about $140,000.
Right, that's a
It
decrease.
kind of helps my mind think, okay, I'm not gonna be out $700,000,
Yeah, the
for the
biggest,
next 15 years.
the biggest impact is in 27 to 29. And then, the other bonds that are out there start to shrink enough to.
And in the interim, you can take a kayak out on the pond.
That's right, that's right. Maybe even fish someday, right?
Yeah, that too.
It's been a priority, the priority of parks for 9 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of you know the perils of Pauline we've been through. The original assumption of what this project was cost was just plain low. Any way you look at it. But at the same time that the price has gone up, we have almost 200,000 of money that's not part of CPC that's come in. That's gotten much better. So we once had approval of what 2.8 roughly, 2.7 and change million. Now we're at 3.5. Agreed, it's gone up that percentage, but if you look at what's been done with the limited funds we've had, I think Bartlett Mall is a far better thing than it was before we started, both on Pond Street, just with the sidewalk, but mainly the children's accessible playground. So I think that's been well managed. And we have the power in place to see that it can stay well managed possibly, which is a huge plus for a city to do something, just have the right leadership.
It's on the mayor's list too, right?
Yeah.
Anything else on that? Good, well then, let's get off to the races here. See what we can do. I'll have you out of here by 9.
Well, we haven't really reduced anything but one, right? We just reduced the bill so far.
Oh, so far, yeah, but that.
Well, we haven't, that was just my.
That's just,
One
that's
opinion.
some thinking that's going around out there, so, okay. Who wants to jump in?
I might have a budget to check out.
Okay, Beth.
All right. So I guess so if we assume 91,211 for the Belleville Meeting House.
That's what I had suggested,
Right.
yes, yeah.
Okay. And then I put in full for the rest of the historic preservation projects. So 58, 2,117 and 82,000. And then here's what I did first, and this is where I feel like I found the most success. If we put 150 towards housing, that meets our 10%, and that 150 does a lot of work down in the recreation tab. So I put in 150 for number 6, or well, no, sorry, for 150 for priority housing, and then full 100,000 for open space. And then I did full on everything except for the Fuller Field track, which I did at 220. And I think if my math was right, that leaves us with about 13 and some change.
Good, what did you say for Fuller Field? Sorry.
220.
Thank you.
Say 20.
But if, or whatever wiggle room we figured would be left. But once I took that 150 out of the housing and that reducing the Belleville down to 91,000, to me it was just a matter of like, okay, well, it's just really that Fuller Field, getting that one as much as we can.
I had a little bit of a different approach that I was with you as we got to housing. I felt sort of strongly in favor of fully funding that request, particularly the rental assistance.
The housing
Yeah.
request, yes.
Yeah, it just feels, it feels like a time when need is higher rather than lower.
I,
I would, can I say, I actually would like, I would totally agree. I think if we give that one full though, then it's, if we were going to lose one or lose something, I think then
Yeah,
the
I mean-
Fuller track one to me pops out immediately.
yeah, in my worksheet, I fully funded it, and then I sort of trimmed some of the rec ones, but I also had the question, which was trying to get in my mind around the rec ones. Where was there opportunity for other funding, to Jane's point, I think about the track versus where would trimming really make it the project not viable. Before we go further, does anybody need some chocolate just to keep them going a little bit?
Oh my God.
We have a motion for Charlie.
I'll second that.
Let's walk down the aisle. We all have to share, guys.
Thank you, Joe.
Recess
No,
for
don't.
John.
If I have chocolate after 1 p.m., there's no sleep.
No.
Thank you.
You can throw one out the window. I'm not too far over.
Yeah, I'm really sorry,
I
man.
mean, we seem like we also,
Can you virtually taste it?
I think Chuck was talking about having the in-street and Patrick Tracy Square project.
It's too much.
So that would go, that was kind of 110,000.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't pick up.
So Chuck was talking about having the Patrick Tracy Square project, so that would cut 110,000, right?
I'm worried about that one not getting done if we don't give it full.
Those numbers back up just so we can see the total. Like, it's just for.
Let's go through yours, let's go through what you want, so you're.
Well, no, I was just saying, whatever Biff said, just so we can have numbers to look at, and then we can kind of go from there. Yeah,
You want to wait, fill in a line for Griff though?
Well, that's.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. I just had to-
70.
So if you went 300 on the affordable housing trust. And then we have the Patrick Tracy Square.
I just don't think that was Biff's, because we were in the negatives and I have 5,000. Positive.
Yeah, my
So
first
nothing-
one was 150 for that.
150 on housing is what they
Okay.
recommend.
Right.
Or
So put
suggest.
150?
Well, no, I said, well, people want to see what it would look like if there was 300 still in there.
Oh, I see.
So we're 165 down.
Right, so then but then we're talking, but I just wanted to talk about. What Chuck was talking about with the industry Patrick Tracy Square. If that was something that we could indeed have, that might get us. Probably towards the number that we wanted to, if that was amenable to us.
If we have Patrick Tracy,
Right,
yeah. But if we have half Patrick Tracy, does that do Patrick Tracy again?
Mm,
I have the track. And kept Patrick's place. Wow.
just,
No, probably. Okay.
Whatever, you know what?
but Jane, you were right. But Jane, what you were saying was, you at what point does cutting the track make it not viable?
Not viable.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Because it's a.
Have to imagine cutting the track in half. Makes
I
sense.
would like to see it incorporated into a school budget, like to see a maintenance, operating. What maintenance fund, it's just.
Except it's used by so many people
Right.
outside.
But
schools.
isn't it-
I live so close. I mean,
Right.
there are people,
People
I think
all
it's
the
so
time.
hard to argue
Yeah,
with
it's
that in the
used all the time.
schools.
And only the.
Only
Is
the schools,
there-
because it's busy
All
all
the
day
time.
long with like people of all
Right.
ages walking, so it's hard to.
Is there a comparable,
Put it as a school, like
Right.
some of it is a
Solely
school,
school, right, and
yeah.
that's why I wouldn't want.
but isn't there,
school
to that point, isn't there comparable, what percentage did we do of the tennis versus what did the schools do? Cause that, I feel like is a bit of a apples to apples
I
comparison.
can't remember honestly.
There was more fundraising for the.
For tennis,
Tennis.
yeah.
And there was a lot of fundraising, well, and for the initial track installation too, but I think CPA funded the majority of it. But there was a fundraising effort and there has not been.
I think if you look at the. I'm saying this from the start point of view, where I think that the housing needs to 300. But then, if you wanna look at a broad stroke, as between In Street and the track. I think since the track is on, the back end of its expected life, it doesn't die
Right.
immediately. Right. So if you don't fund the track, but you do fund In Street, you get that one done, that we've been talking about for a long time. And the track can set up for next year with some additional fundraising. And you have then an 11-year-old track rather than a 10-year-old that you're gonna have to resurface. That's just one way to think about it.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that, and I feel like that we've been kicking the restoration of the in-street stuff. We've been kicking that down the road for a while. It'd be nice to get one of these done.
I mean, the track is just widely used, right?
Used by many.
Right,
But so is
Those
in.
So it's In Street, right?
right, so but there's other places to cut as well, I mean, we can go through every one of them, right?
Tracks are used daily, one day.
But if you're looking to save, roughly 250, and you don't fund the track, you're already saving 240. So, you don't have to be cutting back too much, or maybe nothing at all, if you're gonna do the 91 or so and some change up at Belleville. Everything else fully funded.
Did the request for the track come from? It is the responsible thing to do to look to replace it at the end of the 10 years, or because it is like in terrible shape and causing, do you know what I mean? Like, is this, every 10 years you typically replace them, so here we are, or is it, I guess I don't see it in terrible shape, but I'm not from, I mean, I do walk down there and I'm there for other reasons, but I'm. not
Yeah,
for running errands.
I think that the track coach and the Friends of Newburyport track were both indicating that it was definitely starting to show signs of age. I wouldn't say that it's, horrific shape.
Sorry, just from a math perspective, which I'm terrible at, if we're operating with the 91,211. And if we fully fund everything else. That leaves us. With. $97,000. Does it not, that we could put towards the track?
Like just,
For some reason I have 75.
I have 75 as well.
You do, well, that's,
75,050,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's why you should check, but that means we don't actually, like, we could be making a meaningful contribution. Towards the track and still fully funding everything that we said.
That's kind of where I was going, was just like if we set a bunch of the other ones, then it's like whatever's left of the wiggle room we can maybe put towards one of these. I think the track one seems the most logical one to see what partial funding will do. Or
Yeah,
not fund at all.
I think that's the big question is whether that amount would allow you to start the project. And I don't think so, because it's not like a phased project. You've got to surface all at the same time.
No 440, you don't need.
Yeah.
Then I would propose to
We'll just
fund
do
it.
lanes 1 and 2 this year.
I propose then to fully fund everything and zero out the track and have that. Money just. Carry over to next year.
but not fully on the belt, like we're still talking about taking out.
With the
Right, the
91.
next,
Yeah,
sorry.
scaffolding,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because that just builds.
Yeah, that's the math on the prorating the.
Right.
And then that leaves us with 75,000, right? 75,
Yeah.
57.
I like it.
I mean,
I like that too, also.
so we can't shave another 125 out of the other projects to get to the fund, to get it to 200,000 for the track.
Guess one thing
Another way to go.
I noticed is that and I'm sure, like I'm sure the mayor probably would be happy to write a letter saying all the things are important. I think we all probably, these all seem very important. I did notice that in his recommendation, like he didn't highlight the fencing project. He didn't highlight the Brown School design as priorities, I don't think. I read it.
I think you're probably right.
Right,
He
So-
did Hill Street,
Yeah.
Woodman Park.
Yeah.
In Street. Fuller Field, Atkinson Common and Bartlett Mall. Now, sorry.
I mean,
I hate to cut the Brown side, I agree with you, it just seems like the time to do it, I just noticed it wasn't in his highest priorities if we're looking to
Yeah.
find. But I also see that it's
It's
important to
sort
know
of
that,
in
so.
the east go.
yeah,
The 75,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or if you get off cycle requests as we did.
If you've got some here that don't have hard numbers. And even some of the ones that have hard numbers will have a discovery component, so. Don't spend it all, when you're talking 8,000, but it could be 70.
Mhm.
They'd give us some flexibility to meet again and. Allocate something to make the others go.
I mean, if somebody comes back with.
Yes, if it comes back,
Yeah.
it's nearly all the
Out of
time it
cycle, yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
The sidewalk costs more money or the brick costs more money, we would have that 70 grand to talk about.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Sure. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it just sits in the general fund and. You know, there isn't any requirement to do what we usually do, which was spend it down to as close as. Is reasonable. There are cities and towns that. You know. Have large funds that they're just waiting for, you know. Everybody to agree on where they're gonna spend it. You know?
I think to Andrea's point, which I see, though I like the idea of just fully funding these projects with an asterisk on what fully means.
Yeah.
For Belleville.
Yeah.
And not trying to necessarily carve out a savings for part of a project. I think there's huge value in giving people what they need to complete projects and move them off the to-do list.
And we're fairly consistent with, you know, board with long memories, and so if we see the Fuller Field track come up next year, which I assume we would. You know, wow, anyways, remember,
Right.
oh, yes, yeah,
Right.
we've seen that, we know that it is important, and we delayed it for a year.
And if we don't have any surprises by change orders or whatever the cost of materials on the others, the 70 will
We'll have
still
more,
be.
Right.
we'll have another 70.
And I think your original point, Jane, also it's like an opportunity from now until then to talk about Fuller and whether there's other opportunities for funding that we could, you know, be a collaborator on.
Mhm.
Like,
It's very tight.
Well, I guess maybe it's time for somebody to make a motion.
I could make a motion.
Is that you, Vic? You making a motion?
Sure.
All right.
All right, I'll try to do this. Let's see. Okay. So, how is the best way to I guess word the motion to list through the
Yeah, just go through.
Recommended
go through
funding.
the list and you move to recommend to city council, funding of the following, projects
Gotcha.
in the in the amount you would attribute to each one. And then we will, go through it, and vote on it.
All right. Well, so I'll make the motion that we recommend to the city council funding of the following projects with these allocations. The Belleville Meeting House ceiling repair, 91,211. The sanctuary windows at Old South Church, 58,000. The gravestone restoration at Belleville Cemetery, 2,000. The fire protection FRSUU, 117,000. St. Paul's Community Hall roof, 82,000. Priority housing needs and rental assistance, 300,000. Open Space Reserve Fund, 100,000. Hale Street shared use, 65,000. Woodman Park Improvement Project, 75,000. In Street and Patrick Tracy Square, 221,350. Jason Sawyer Fencing Project, 22,000. No funding for the Fuller Field Track Resurfacing Project. 14,999 for the Brown School Outdoor Space Design. And for the Lower Atkinson Multi-Sport Court Phase 3, 85,000. I think that's it.
And just, is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Sorry.
That was,
I do, is that Joe? You
It
second?
was Joe, he had more chocolate and got there first.
Joe got there first. That was Joe. I would just like to, amend the motion in two aspects, and that's put conditions of a revised PR on, those two that are listed in the fire protection at FRS and the community hall roof for St. Paul's.
I can second
those-
that.
Yeah, okay, so then, so that was amended, he's seconding it, so now we're gonna do a roll call for that list in those amounts with those conditions. And the result of the roll call will finish that part of it, then we'll go on to the bond. Okay,
One question before that.
yes, sir.
Do we need anything in this about the bond for the Bartlett Mill?
Oh, we're gonna discuss that separately.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like further discussion on the motion.
Yes,
My voice is done. I just feel like, in the comments earlier, the sense of urgency on the St. Paul's roof fencing project and others. I think if we cut, we're doing twice as much in the affordable housing, if we cut that a little bit, I think you can get to 200,000 on the track. Especially what Chuck was saying about the 221 on Main Street, if you cover a little bit out of that. Since I've been on the board, we've been looking at that project. I just feel like that track is a big deal in town, and I don't think we're doing it a service by zeroing out that one.
and
I don't have strong opinions on whether we should zero out the track or not, but I do have strong commitment to the housing trust.
anybody else have any discussion?
Yeah, I believe the track needs to get done. The issue is, can we kick it down another year? And it's usable. It will certainly be my top priority if I'm still in there next year. I do think the industry getting that done now is, if there were chunks of the track that were lying all over the track, I would want them to be fixing that, but there's bricks everywhere, and it is a heavily used space too. But it's a tough decision.
And I guess N Street is ultimately back here because we cut it last year and then it meant they couldn't do it,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
To make.
yeah. Affordable housing is one of the most important and hottest topics in the city right now. And we need it, and we need to help folks. So I feel so strongly about funding that group at 300,000.
I think if you're just thinking about ultimately like stewarding taxpayers' money through this, it's just like it's something that is gonna continue to be important and
Yeah.
I agree.
Any other discussion? Okay, so the motion as amended is the list that, if presented, with the, amendment that, the PRs get amended for those two, historic projects. No further discussion. I'll take the roll call. Jane Healy,
Yes.
Chuck Griffin,
Yes.
Tom O'Brien,
No.
Biff Faust,
Yes.
Joe Texera,
Yes.
Jamie Gagnon,
No,
Jennifer Bluestein,
Yes,
Andrea Wheatman.
Yes,
Chair votes yes. Motion passes. 7-2. Let's move on to the bonded project for Bartlett Mall Frog Pond. Let me dig out my numbers on that. So the estimate at 4% on the bond is at equal pay down. For a year for 15 years is $316 and some change, $316,000 and some change. Added to the servicing of the existing debt. We have that information as to that basically falls off the charts at in 2039. Looks like the biggest hit would be with this, if we recommend and the city council approves this bond for the MAL, it would be the first payment in 27. So you add what we're paying on the current debt, with the new 316, that would be a 761,700 debt service for 27, which would, would still leave us with, some significant money to address other projects. It's probably the highest we've gone on debt service from the fund from its beginning, but for years we were doing at least 500,000 when those big bonds for City Hall and the open space were new. So, and that worked out well.
And our revenue was less.
And our revenue was a lot less
Significantly
than
less.
too. Yeah, okay, yeah, so we do get, increasing in revenue. And, I think, I'd like to hear from folks on what they feel about the substance, the merits of the project itself. I for one am pleased that, I know it's taken a decade, but I'm pleased at the educated way that the investigation has gone and the options that were all sought out. And we've got a top-notch engineering group that's, telling us, yeah, this is the way it'll work. So, I think it's time to pull the trigger.
I agree, and there's also matching funds at stake as well, and I think it's a huge opportunity missed if we don't act now. In order to capture. It's like $2 million.
I think
We
this is,
also have,
oh, I'm sorry, Chuck, go ahead.
we also have threats of health issues that are rising to the front, and we sure don't want to have that park be found unstable or dangerous to our citizenry and have to be fenced or anything. I don't mean to be ogre about it, but there are issues there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that, I mean, the issues that the pond has had are 100 some years old, and they've tried to solve this so many times. So I think if we could solve it now, I think it would be a pretty great thing to see finally have happen and have that pond be brought back to the way it used to be, the way it should be.
I thought a lot about this one today. I was doing some just prep for this, and it's the hard thing is just knowing that we're reducing what we have to give, especially in light of the conversation, which is like half. So that's what gives me pause. But then I also just was looking back through being newer to this group, like historically what CPC has done and some bigger CPC projects in other communities. And it does feel like this is one of the things that this is what the CPA was created for. And I look at like what we have invested in. I'm just thinking about Market Landing Park, how amazing it is down there and how that easily could have not been done and how it's just incredible, and that it feels like this is really in need of this renovation and this restoration. So I would
I also think that as a person who spends a lot of time at that playground, which is so incredibly beautiful and just brings kids and their families from everywhere because of its accessibility. It would be nice to have the whole environment there meet that level of excellence.
I think in terms of impact to the city, it's this project is on par with Market Landing Park. In terms of needing to make it as good as it can be, and also not threatening the health of anybody
Who walks within 10 feet of it.
Right.
And I think it's my understanding from like doing some research today that, I know obviously the municipalities across Commonwealth are starting to get, things are tight, and it seems like, if I'm correct, And remember that this is, does not hit the operational budget of the city doing it this way.
Hmm.
I think that is important and kind of brings me back to the like, this is why we adopt this UPA, so that you can do things that are important, but that you just don't have the money to do otherwise, so, yeah.
Right.
That component is important, but I think it doesn't hit the city in other ways. Not the city couldn't absorb that, you know?
Any other discussion? We can entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the bond for, how much was it?
3.5.
3.5 million for the Barton Mount
And payable
restoration.
over 15 years.
What do you say?
Okay.
I second the motion.
Any further discussion? Do another roll call. Jane Healy,
Yes.
Chuck Griffin,
Yes.
Tom O'Brien.
Yep.
Biff Bowes,
Yes.
Joe Texera,
Yes.
Jamie Gagnon.
Yes.
Jennifer Bluestein,
Yes.
Andrea Wheaton,
Yes.
chair votes yes.
Seriously. And Jane, we've done a tight meeting.
You guys.
We have minutes to approve.
We do.
Yeah, we have a few other.
Yeah, we got some.
That's somebody's paying.
He's trying to get out of here.
No, we're gonna stay long enough to have more chocolate. Come on.
I'm sad to tell you.
There's some here that I don't want anymore.
Thank you all.
Okay, we've got, unapproved minutes going back to. So I think there's four sets here, right? Yeah, January 15, January 29, February 5, and March 5. I'll take these collectively, entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve selected minutes.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go, Rachel.
Okay,
Thank you.
All opposed? No. No, opposed, yes.
How can I go over there?
And then don't we have the grant extension request?
Yes, we have, in the staff report. But where? Right here, okay.
You have it, I think the screen.
Thought I had it.
I bet you do.
I know I got it someplace. Oh, it's on the backside. Okay, yes. We have a list on the staff report, there are a list of incomplete projects which would require a vote from us to grant an extension. And I think we've been doing a 12-month extension. We've been doing a 24-month initial and then 12-month extensions. So from, let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 applications, or 10 projects rather, that need that. So I'll entertain a motion again collectively, unless somebody wants to talk about individual ones separately, to grant the extensions to complete those projects.
Make a motion to extend all the grants.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposed. Thank you. That's, I don't have any more business. I'll entertain a motion to.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well, I'll go over to this house to have a party.
Thanks all.
Jen, thanks for the chocolate that.
Yes.
And the planning board meeting